let's bring in our director of recruiting, Steve Wiltfong. Rivalry weekend delivered in many ways, but let's stick here on the game. Five-star safety Caleb Downs, he's committed to Bama, but he was in Columbus. So what's the latest in his flip watch?
Yeah, the number one safety in the country, in my opinion, the top high school football player in America, arrived in Columbus about 10 a.m. on Saturday morning for the game, and his family. I talked to his dad. They said it was the best pregame atmosphere and hoopla that they've been to at a college football game. And Caleb wanted to get to Ohio State for a game. He'd been to Alabama for a game, been to Georgia for a game. Obviously, he's committed to Alabama. Never been to Ohio State for a game. So that was a big box for him to check there and get up there and see the atmosphere. Ohio State, they threw the kitchen sink at him. They even planned to play him at offense, maybe in that Chris Gamble role back in the day. But Caleb shines on both sides of the ball for Mill Creek, who's a state title contender down there. So that's something that's interesting for him as well. I got a chance to get around the coaches again and talk scheme and how he would fit in there. And then the family continues to highlight the city of Columbus and how woven into the community Ohio State is and how that benefits a student athlete off the field. Alabama still where he's committed. And as of right now, I haven't heard anything changing on that front.
Steve, obviously a loss and a tough loss for Ohio State on the field, but they're engaged in a number of notable recruiting battles. They had a couple other prospects on campus that are high priorities for them. Damon Wilson and then LSU commit Joshua Mickens. What are the chances that the Buckeyes add both of them to the 2023 recruiting class?
Well, I think they're for sure going to land one of them in Joshua Mickens, former LSU commit. We talked about him on the show coming into his Ohio State visit, like the way that was trending for the Buckeyes. You know, he picked LSU because of the stage it's on, the opportunity to compete for championships and play at a high level in the SEC. And I think he sees all of the same things at Ohio State. And then I think as it comes closer to putting pen to paper, proximity to home being a big deal for him. Him in Indianapolis, he's about 2.5 hours away from Ohio State. He was there 2 times this month in November here, and I really like the way Ohio State's trending for Joshua Mickens, who had a tremendous official visit. And then Damon Wilson returned to campus with his dad, took his official visit for Ohio State's win over Notre Dame. I've liked Ohio State for the last month or so in this recruitment, but I will say that over the last couple weeks, I really think Georgia has made a major move here. Damon Wilson's dad told me yesterday that tonight, Tuesday night, they're going to have a big family meeting discussing the future here. So we could know soon what he's going to do. I think Georgia's got some momentum here down the stretch. We'll see if that pushes over the top for Kirby Smart and company, which would obviously be massive if they could add him and Samuel Mpemba down the stretch to what's the nation's number 2 recruiting class. Ohio State sitting number 6 with a chance to land some big fish down here at the end as well. Damon Wilson certainly one they'd like to add.
To be a fly on the wall for that family meeting at the Wilson house. All right, over on the West Coast, the USC's playoff hopes looking pretty bright, but how about their hopes of landing 5-star edge Mateo Uiagalelei, Steve?
Well, I know that they had a tremendous experience at USC. The atmosphere was awesome. Talked to several prospects that were on campus. Obviously, you saw the picture that his dad posted of his son and Lincoln Riley smiling on the field following a big win for USC. And so USC, they've always been a contender in this one. Ohio State, they're one of the favorites for him and certainly have a great shot to land him. Oregon, definitely don't sleep on Oregon for Mateo as well. They're certainly high on his list. And Georgia, we talked about Damon Wilson and Samuel Mpemba as guys that they could very well land here down the stretch, but they're in it for Mateo as well, per our Greg Biggins, our good friend and colleague out west, who wrote a story on him last week.
Steve, obviously we've seen what Caleb Williams has done at USC since arriving from Oklahoma. We know what Lincoln Riley was able to do with quarterbacks, specifically when he was in Norman as well. And now they have a talented 2024 quarterback that's also highly considering the Trojans right now. What's the latest with DJ Lagway as he took a visit to USC ahead of his announcement on December 7th?
Yeah, so the 5-star from Willis, Texas, he's going to announce his college decision on December 7th, and USC is one of the programs I'm watching closely. He actually said after the visit, USC is definitely a school to look out for on December 7th. Who else should we look out for, Blair? Certainly Florida. Clemson's in there. And still don't sleep on Texas A&M. I think that Texas A&M has a pulse in that recruitment as well as we head down the stretch. And I think he has a good idea of what he's going to do. But just went out to USC, talked about the history that USC has that's different than a lot of programs nationally. And then certainly the track record Coach Riley has with quarterbacks and offense playing a huge part in his decision as well. Florida's been all in on DJ Lagway for as long as anybody. He's had a couple great visits to Clemson. Texas A&M's close to home. We'll know soon what he's going to do, but USC certainly helped its cause, it seems, over the weekend.
We will know very soon. December 7th, just around the corner. All right, the top edge in the 2023 class was in Tuscaloosa for the Iron Bowl. Crystal ball's in favor of the Tide, but Steve, when can we anticipate a decision from Keon Keeley?
Well, he was at the Iron Bowl this weekend, one of the high-profile recruits that watched Alabama close their season strong with a victory over rival Auburn. Still love Alabama's position for Keon in this recruitment. A short, good trip, I'm told. He got a chance to hang out with some of the Alabama commits, so he continues to really vibe well with those guys. Obviously saw a great atmosphere. I know that they were excited to see Alabama win. I think that he's got a really good relationship with Coach Coleman Hutzler and the guys on staff, and so everything seems to continue to trend real well for Alabama here for Keon Keeley down the stretch as he considers Alabama alongside Ohio State and Florida, among others.
All right, well, we've got you. We got to ask. Kenny Dillingham, named the Arizona State head coach. You've talked extensively about his recruiting chops in the past. So what are your thoughts on the hire?
Well, he's an original 30 under 30 member here for 24/7 Sports. I don't know how. I think does that date back to like 2017, Blair? I don't know. I'm losing track. But
now.
I know he was on the original list. And Kenny Dillingham, he's someone that, man, his first coaching job was coaching the JV at Chaparral High School his senior year when he got hurt. He was a JV assistant coach. Then he was coaching seventh graders at the park while he was a student at Arizona State, linebackers. Eventually, Mike Norvell gave him a job. Coach quarterbacks there and has climbed the ladder here. But nobody more excited to be at Arizona State of any of the candidates than Kelly Dillingham. It's his alma mater. It's his home state. He's got a lot of love for the program, and really hard work is what got him here. He's got no family in college football, no inroads. He's created his own path here. And from a recruiting standpoint, look, he's had some major recruiting wins. Look no further than Dante Moore, the five-star quarterback from Detroit who chose Oregon over Notre Dame and Michigan State, among others. And last year beating out Arizona State for A.J. Duffy at Florida State. So he can recruit that quarterback position as well as anybody. He loves Arizona State. He knows the ins and outs of that university. Looks like he's putting together an exciting staff. And I think that the Sun Devils, from a recruiting standpoint, have a head coach that understands what it takes to recruit at a high level. And he's going to bring a lot of juice to the trail for the Sun Devils.
Very exciting opportunity for all parties involved there. Steve, thank you so much. Be sure to check out new episodes of the Wiltfong Whip Around, dropping every Monday and Friday on the 24/7 Sports YouTube page.